I think we're all familiar with a clean version of Christmas. You know, the nativity scenes that we see at the shops, in the windows, or in movies, or on Christmas cards. All of the scenes look the same. There is a perfect little baby Jesus. I mean, Mary has barely broken a sweat. Joseph is totally chill. All the animals like doting, lovingly peering into this manger, and there's this beam of light that's coming down from the heavens over the manger. But I can't help but think it feels a little airbrushed, a little photoshopped. That feels like a sanitized version of Christmas. When in reality, actually the first Christmas was a mess, a total mess. I want to take you back to the very beginning, to that very first Christmas. Because as we do, I believe it brings some hope and perspective to our 2020. 2020 has been a year, has it not? This Christmas is unlike any other Christmas we have ever experienced and hopefully ever will experience. This is a Christmas of social distancing, digitally substituted, white-knuckled, hanging on, hoping that 2021 is going to be better kind of Christmas. I don't know what Christmas is like for you this year. Perhaps you are unable to travel to be with family this Christmas. Perhaps your grandparents can't be a part of the celebrations like they normally would. Or maybe financial stress and insecurity means that you can't enjoy the abundance and generosity and overflow of Christmas like you normally would. Where do we find hope this Christmas? Where do we find strength and joy this Christmas? Well, I believe as we go back to that very first Christmas and see what God is doing, that brings us some hope and some perspective to our 2021. The first Christmas is a mess. Mary is pregnant and Joseph is planning to divorce her. Mary and Joseph are engaged. In the first century, that's a much bigger deal than it is for us. You see, it was a 12-month period of abstinence. It was a contractual period, and in order to break an engagement, you needed to sign divorce papers. So Mary's pregnant, and she's got to go tell her man that she is and that the child is not his. I mean, put yourself in her shoes for a moment. She's worried. Will she be a single mum in a culture with no welfare? Will she be shunned by society, have to deal with all the judgy stares as she goes to the shops? Will she be cut off from her family? She's freaking out. Or put yourself in Joseph's shoes for a second. He's worried about what people will think. He wonders if the child really is actually from God. Has Mary cheated on him? And so he plans to divorce Mary on the down low. All of their wedding plans are ruined. I remember watching a YouTube video one time of a wedding fail. The best man's called to bring the ring up to the podium, and as he steps up, he trips on the first stair, falls into the bride, and pushes her into the pool behind him.
Oh God! No! Oh my God!
The wedding day is ruined. Mary and Joseph's plans are ruined. And were it not for an angel appearing to Joseph in a dream, he would have divorced her. The first Christmas was a mess. Secondly, the birth is traumatic. A week before Mary's due date, a census is called, and Mary and Joseph have to travel back to their hometown of Bethlehem. It's a 160-kilometer journey. There's no Uber, there's no trains, there's no public transport, there's no cars. So they travel on horseback. Mary travels on a donkey. Now, horseback travel is not comfortable at the best of times, let alone being full-term pregnant. As they arrive in Bethlehem, Mary's waters break. She's about to deliver a child. There's no room anywhere for them to have this baby. The only place that is available is a stable, an animal shed. Now put yourself there. It's not clean. It's not romantic like the nativity scenes show us. This is messy. There's the stench of animals, dung, urine, feed. It's messy. And this is where Jesus is born. I remember when we had our first child, we had a private tour of our private room with a private ensuite and a stretcher bed next to the bed and a microwave, and it was pristinely clean. Mary gives birth in an animal shed. It's kind of the equivalent of being born in the toilet of a truckside server. It's a mess. Well, thirdly, this child has a bounty on its head. King Herod, the ruler at the time, hears that a rival king has been born, and due to his own leadership insecurities, orders the death of all boys under the age of 2 to eradicate the threat. And so Mary and Joseph, they're literally political refugees fleeing for their lives. The first Christmas, there's a out-of-wedlock pregnancy, a potential divorce on the cards, a baby with a bounty on its head, and you've got to ask yourself the question, if this is God's plan, what is He doing? Well, it's into the mess of our world, of Joseph and Mary's world, that Jesus is born. He is a light in the darkness. He is life to those who are living in the shadow of death. He is peace to a divided world. God becomes human. And He doesn't arrive with pomp and ceremony. No, He comes in vulnerability, in weakness, born as a baby. The arrival of Jesus in such messy circumstances is a reminder to us of a number of things. Firstly, it's a reminder that God is not distant. He's not cold. It's not like He doesn't care about our brokenness and our pain. It's a reminder to us that God is not afraid of the mess of this world. No, He runs towards it. It's a reminder to us that Christmas is God's pledge to this world that He will fix the mess, that He has promised to make all things new, but probably most profound in this season. It's a reminder to us that God is with us, that He is present. You know, the angel that appeared to Joseph in a dream said to him, "A virgin will conceive, she will give birth to a son, and you are to call him Emmanuel," which means God with us. God with us. That God is present, that He is near, that God has crossed the universe, that God has sent His one and only Son to be born, to be with us. This Christmas, I want to remind you that you're not alone. This Christmas, I want to remind you that despite the chaos and uncertainty and turmoil of 2020, that God has made a strong commitment to you. He loves you. He's near. Jesus promises this in His Gospels. He says, "Come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Our hope and prayer this Christmas for you is that you would know and experience the presence of God, that you would know His love. So wherever you are, whatever 2020 is looking like for you, we want you to know God loves you, He's for you, and He is near. God bless you, and have a very Merry Christmas.